Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Shady Rays. Go to shadyrays.com. Use the code SGPN for 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarised sunglasses. Welcome, everybody, to the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne. Today is Sunday, April the 16th, and we are here to have a look back at a historically good weekend of Premier League picks, and then we'll make some Champions League, some Europa League, and some lower league English picks for this midweek coming up. Joining me from somewhere in Nottinghamshire is Mr. Barry Penaluna. Hello, Baz.
Good evening, Malcolm. How are we doing?
Guess what I had for me tea?
Sunday roast.
Sausage, egg and beans. Random.
Tell you what I've had.
Go on then.
The 10-year-old daughter has cooked us a 3-course meal today, all four of us.
What?
10-year-old daughter. So she's a bit obsessed with Come Dine With Me on the TV.
Yeah, like it.
Which for our very American viewers is where people invite...
They must have that. They've got all the same shit we've got.
4 people come round your house, cook your dinner, you get scored at the end, and then you go to the next person's house the next night and all that. So she wanted to cook us a three-course meal. So we said, right, you come up with your menu. So she typed the menu up on the computer, printed it
nice.
Off. Sophie's menu. We had pate and bread to the starter.
Yeah.
She made a creamy tomato pasta with garlic bread for the main course, and then she cooked a homemade brownie. And honestly, the brownie was out of this world. She's done it from scratch, like absolutely everything. We literally took her shopping, got her the ingredients, put everything out on the bench with the scales and the mixer and all of that, and said, crack on. And she stood in the kitchen for hours with her laptop there. The laptop had a recipe on that she was going to follow for the brownie. She'd found a recipe on Google. And we've had a lovely meal. She's cracking. She's done a great job, like, for 10-year-olds.
Fantastic.
She wouldn't let us get involved. Every time you walked in the kitchen, she's like, get out. This is mine. I've got it. It's not a problem. So the only thing I had to do was take something out of the oven. Everything else was done by her. So, yeah, we've had a really good meal. She's done really well.
Why the hell am I slumming it with sausage, egg and beans then? I'm going to go and drag my kids out the air. Do you know this, Baz, that I got down to the last 5 for Come Down With Me? There was 4 people. Do you remember back in the day? They came around the house with the cameras and everything. In this very kitchen, in fact. And then somehow they didn't choose me. I don't know what they're thinking, like. And the stupid woman that did choose, she lives across here at Kenton Park. She made chicken tikka, but in the sandwich toaster. So she put the chicken tikka in the thingy and then just like flattened it and just held it shut.
That one, you know.
Do you? That was my one. Or it should have been. They laughed because I had my tagine here. I've got my little tagine up on top of the fridge, you know, the old clay Moroccan pot, which came back from Marrakesh. I'm a well-travelled man. And she asked for a look in there. Well, all I hide in there is old betting slips that I shouldn't have, parking tickets that I shouldn't have got, and stuff like that. So, because, you know, the IT department would never think to look in there. So that used to be the place for all my shenanigans. And after they come down with people loved that. They loved all that. And then I got the knockback, Baz. So that was gravely disappointing. Baz, I'm throwing out 25 to 1 underdog doubles, and we're talking about Come Down With Me. I mean, what's going on here?
Unbelievable yesterday. I mean, the underdogs, the underdog picks have been some of our best stuff lately. I threw out Palace at a big price. We both took Villa against Chelsea at a really good price.
Oh, yeah, that was only 2 Saturdays ago. 5 to 1.
I think you've hit 3 weeks in a bounce now.
What a guy.
And obviously, pick 2 this week and hit both of them at a 25 to 1 double. We'll come to that in a moment. I thought I'd hit 3 weeks in a row. I had in my head that I'd put Palace out. I knew I'd picked Palace. And I thought
you went for Brentford, didn't you?
But I went for Brentford.
Yeah.
So I was between the 2 and went the wrong way. A little bit unlucky, but still had some good price winners throughout. And we both had a sort of winning record this weekend. And we've got parlays still going. The 3-day parlay is still going. So, we'll cover the games and we'll get to that in a minute and work out.
Is your 3-day parlay still alive then as well?
Oh, that's live and kicking, Malcolm, yes.
Yes, excellent. I like this concept, Baz, the 3-day parlay. So, yeah, we'll get to everything. I mean, I'm taking a mild victory. That's spelling myself a little bit. I mean, it was off the back of a heroically bad European midweek, so, it swings and roundabouts, but you're only as good as your last show, Baz, and we smashed the granny out of it. So what we'll do is we'll have a little look back over the weekend, because it's been a really big weekend, an important weekend of Premier League results at the top end, the bottom end, and everywhere else. We've got Leeds and Liverpool tomorrow, which we did cover on the show last week. So we'll briefly recap our picks for Monday night. Then we've got the Champions League quarterfinals. We've got Manchester United against Seville, and we've headed down the leagues. Baz, I've got a surprise for you later on, Baz, as well. I'm refusing to be outdone by your lower league sorties, so I've made one of my own, and I didn't tell you about it, just to keep a little bit of mystery up. So we'll do all that once I've told you about Shady Rays. Our friends at Shady Rays have got you covered from the sun to the slopes with premium polarized shades, customizable snow goggles, and much more. It's a world-class product, as good as any expensive pair that we've worn. Durable frames, extremely clear optics. Shady Rays will replace any lost or broken glasses. Even on day one, they'll send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. So you can wear your Shady Rays with confidence. Let's have a look. Look good and feel good. They've donated over 20 million meals to fight hunger with Feeding America. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the new year. Go to shadyrays.com. Use the code SGPN for 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself. The shades rated 5 stars by over 200,000 people. And make sure to check out the NBA Playoff Survivor Challenge. Completely free to enter. And the winner gets $250 in cash and a $100 SGPN gift card exclusively on the SGPN app. Okay, so we'll head back, Baz, to Saturday lunchtime. This is where everything started, really. Aston Villa 3, Newcastle 0. Villa battered Newcastle. Now, I mean, what kind of, Baz, cold-blooded, ice in the veins tipster? It's like I slowed my heartbeat down to 12 beats per minute, like an Ethiopian marathon runner, to pick against my own team who'd won 5 games in a row, throw out the underdog at 13-5 plus 260, and then just sit back and watch as Aston Villa effortlessly crush Newcastle 3-0. So, yeah, good old pick that was. And, I mean, it had been coming. What struck me was the similarities in the first half between the Brentford game and the Villa game. They were both exactly the same. Both finished 1-0, could have finished more. However, Villa are a much better team than Brentford, so it was going to be difficult for Newcastle to come back. So, as much as it was a bit of a shock and disappointing, I saw it coming, and I have had quite a good read on Newcastle. I was never more confident that we would hunt Man United, and I was pretty confident that we'd get turned over. But say a bad result, Villa are in absolutely great form. I got a message off a kid I went to college with. I hadn't seen him since 98, 99. Lodder. Great kid, funny bloke. Honest, not spoken to him 23 years, but it's easy. Little Twitter message on Saturday tea time, up the Villa. It's like, fucking hell. He's like, do you know what I mean? Where have you come from? Oh, and up the Villa and asked me for a tip for the National. All in the same tweet. So I gave him one tip, Corrick Rambler, 10-1. So I was throwing out 10-1 winners after this had cashed as well.
I took Corrick Rambler as well. We should have put our national tips out.
I know, we forgot all about it. So after time.
About it, but by the time I did, it was a bit too late in the day.
But yeah, you took, I think, both teams to score, Baz, and we did think Newcastle would score. But in the end, Villa were great and we got humped.
Yeah, I mean, no excuses, really. It was probably our worst performance under Howe, I think. We knew it was going to be a hard game. We knew Villa were in good form. And we just never got going. We were sloppy from the start. Just couldn't get any rhythm going at all. Everyone was poor. But I don't think it's too big a deal. If you look in the context of our last 6 games, if you told us we'd get 15 points from 18, we'd have took it. Lose that one, move on, and we're playing Spurs next week, who are shy. Massive game, though. So, yeah, it's not the end of the world. And as you say, we've sort of... You alluded to it the other day about how there's always been this bit of pointless rivalry between Villa fans and Newcastle fans, and both of us are probably the same at the moment in terms of having a little bit of appreciation for the football they're playing and stuff. And it was good to hear as well, both managers, Eddie Howe saying, I'm only here because Emery turned it down, and praising Emery for the job he's doing, but Emery equally saying what a great job Howe's doing. there's no need for a massive rivalry. We hold our hands up. We got beat by the better side on the day. Your Villa fan obviously didn't get in touch earlier in the season when we humped them 4-0.
Yeah.
But, that's football. That's fine. Move on.
Yeah, that's fair enough. You're exactly right, boys. The 3 o'clock kick-off, Chelsea won Brighton 2. Great pick here, but Brighton at 17-10 was a team right. We both took it. We deserved this, I think, after last week, because we took Brighton to Tottenham and were absolutely chinned. Chelsea got in front, but very fortunately, Brighton battered them from start to finish. And the more I hear Frank Lampard talk, the more clueless he sounds. He just sounds entirely hapless. He's turning into Mr. Bean at high speed. Brighton were outstanding again, though, Baz, and Chelsea are just an absolute dumpster fire.
Yeah, I mean, both of us, as you say, took it at a really good price. That's one thing I said to you beforehand is we've had a really good weekend and we're putting out, we've won more than half our picks this week, 6 for 9, both of us. But when you're putting out, you're getting 6 for 9 and you're pulling out 13 to 8s and 6 to 4s regularly. We're not pushing everything down into less than even money. We're putting out some good prices, not afraid to back the teams where others might have hedged a little bit with draw no bets and stuff like that. So, yeah, really, really positive on that from Brighton at a really good price and got the 3 o'clocks off to a great start.
Next one was our first loser. Everton 1, Fulham 3. It was another team round. We both took Everton. The MOB and Everton were beating these bad teams at home. What this was to me was a stark reminder, Baz, that Everton are shit. They were absolutely terrible. They got humped off Fulham, who haven't been in good form. And this is as good as Everton are. They've had that little bounce under Dyche. I mean, you looked at that team and they're rolling Neil Maupay out up front. I mean, if that was Forrest or someone else, you just know they wouldn't score. It was funny old business. But yeah, that's a worrying defeat that for Everton.
Yeah, definitely. As I say, it was one we didn't see. Fulham had been in bad form. And we thought Fulham would come out and get something. We thought Everton would come out and get the result at home. Wasn't to be, as you say. That will be a bit of a blow to their confidence with some tougher games to come.
Next up, Southampton 0, Palace 2. I got a bit cute one for the draw. It was staring in the face, really. Crystal Palace for the win. Playing freely, scoring goals. Baz, you took Palace at 17-10. Southampton at this point look doomed. They're about 25 to 1 on to go down now, the bugger. And as much as we laughed, Baz, good old Roy Hodgson, 3 out of 3.
Yeah, and as I said, the fixtures have got easier for them, but you've still got to win what they put in front of you, and you've got to give credit to Hodgson for getting the confidence back in a team who hadn't won for so long. And yeah, 17-10 winner for me, really, really good. Off the back of the Brighton one, another really good plus money winner, and that's cashed for me 3 weeks in a row with Palace. So yeah, see if we come back to them next week. I haven't looked at next week's fixtures yet, but
yeah. That's exactly. I had that thought as well, Baz, because I faded them for a few weeks and I thought, right, okay, I'm big enough to change my system here and I'll get Palace on my side next week. This was the headline. Tottenham 2, Bournemouth 3. Bournemouth were given out at plus 650, 13-2 by myself. What was your pick? You took both teams to score, Baz, so a little winner for you as well. Yeah, wallop. This had been coming for Tottenham. They got away with it last week against Brighton. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what the manager's doing. The situation is just unbelievable. They're an absolute mess, and you could see this coming, and see it coming. We did. I did tell you to double them up with Aston Villa if you felt a bit frisky, and that paid 25 to 1. So what a lovely touch! And I didn't actually know they'd won. This game kicked off late, 15 minutes late. They were hanging on for a 2-1. I had to go out to work. So I'm then in the van, and just as I was driving, I heard Tottenham equalise in the 90th minute. So I was furious. And then I listened to the Grand National come on the radio, the horse race come on the radio. So I listened to all of that and then cracked on, went about the rest of my day. And only when I heard the news at the top of the hour, 45 minutes later, I heard him say that Bournemouth had scored a late winner. I thought I'd misheard, so I frantically opened my phone. Mass celebrations in the front of my van. 3-2 win, Baz. So yeah, this was an absolute delight and helped out Newcastle, who dropped their arse earlier in the day. That Spurs meant that the status quo remained for those Champions League spots.
Yeah, absolutely cracking pick from you, that one. I mean, again, it's another example. We're not afraid to put out big prices. If we fancy something, we'll take it. We don't always have to hedge it. I know sometimes we make jokes about my draw no bets and double chances. But we're prepared to put our head on the line and take a gamble if we think it's the right way to go. And you've nailed it this week with those underdogs. As I say, I played it a little bit safer. I thought Bournemouth would give Spurs a game, and I thought that both teams to score looked good enough. I think it had come up in the last 4 games for Spurs or something. Both winning again.
Nice. There's a few people loitering in YouTube here. If you want to say hello, by all means, let us know who you are. There's a few ghosts hanging around. The next one, Wolves 2, Brentford 0. The system fucked it, Baz. This is the funeral. The funeral for the system. All you needed, really, Baz, was for me to jump on it. One entry from me, knackered, gone. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I was furious because I've opposed the pattern on these Wolves home games for so long. And then the 1 week where I thought I'd go with it. I thought Brentford were a good price. Put them up as the underdog, and Wolves cruised it in the end, didn't they? So yeah, disappointing one, that one.
Wolves look pretty safe now, playing well. Diego Costa was sharp. Brentford are on the slide. Brentford just stopped winning. Manchester City 3, Leicester 1. I took Manchester City minus 2.5. I don't know. I didn't win this. This is a travesty, by the way. They were 3-0 up after about 20 minutes. I stopped looking again. I was at work. I stopped looking. So I'm not quite sure what happened. But Baz, you took this was a nice pivot from you, because you said at the time you had the similar pick to me, similar analysis, but you took the over 3.5 goals, which would give you that safety net of 3-1. And that's exactly what happened. So hats off to you for that one.
Yeah, so I'd said at the time, I thought Leicester could score, and if they didn't, I felt fairly confident City could get the 4 goals themselves if needed. Fortunately, it wasn't needed, because once it went 3-0 up so quickly, it was foot off the gas, wasn't it? And took off Haaland at half time. Made a few changes. Leicester actually had a lot of chances in that second half, could easily have got back into it. And if you look at the XG for that game, Leicester actually finished ahead of Man City on XG yesterday.
Okay.
2.19 City, 2.38 Leicester on the XG. They had 10 shots on goal, 4 on target. City had very similar. Leicester had chances. City did their foot off the pedal. I mean, they cruised to it in the end, but had Leicester have been a little bit more ruthless, it could have got a bit...
This kind of game script, it's a game script thing a little bit. That's a classic, NFL garbage time sort of chances and goals.
I talked about this with a mate of mine for fantasy football purposes. Sort of captained Haaland. You get your 2 goals in the first half, and then you call it Pep Roulette, because you never know what he's going to do with his subs. And to be fair, he took him off at half time, but he can do what the fuck he wants when you're 3-0 up. If you want to rest Haaland for midweek, then do it. So you can't have any complaints. You take your look on the Pep Roulette. Sometimes you don't get what you want.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
By that point, Haaland had cashed his fantasy points by then anyway, so it wasn't a massive concern. Good win. And City absolutely in cruise control at the moment, aren't they?
On to Sunday, huge game, huge result in the early afternoon game. West Ham 2, Arsenal 2. This was my lock, over 2.5 goals. This was also quite funny. Arsenal shit the bed, second week running. They threw away a 2 goal. 2-0 after 10 minutes. Again, it's game over, like Liverpool last week. And somehow they let West Ham back in with a penalty, get a penalty of their own and miss it. And 3 minutes later, West Ham equalise. And all of a sudden, the title is a different kettle of fish now. Manchester City have gone minus 200, 1-2. Arsenal are out to 13-8, plus 162. And if Man City do go on to win the league, you'd say, Baz, today was the day when Arsenal, like I say, it all just went tits up for them.
Yeah, I mean, it still all hedges on that game next week, doesn't it? If Arsenal, it's not next week, a couple of weeks, I think. If Arsenal do manage to get a win against City at the Etihad, it's all back on Arsenal's hands. So they've still got it there, but it's got to be mentally bruising, hasn't it, to throw 2-0 leads like that.
Did you watch the game, Baz? Did you see it?
Yeah, I did. I watched all
Why did, in the last 20 minutes, he take off the 3 best players? He took off Saka, Martinelli, and Odegaard.
Yeah, I mean, he brought on some...
maybe he did left Saka on. It was Jesus it was. Jesus, Odegaard, and Martinelli. So, hang on, we need a goal. I'll take me 3 best players off.
He brought on Nketiah, didn't he? And Reece Nelson.
Yeah.
I mean, Reece Nelson had got them...
Bring them on when you're 3-0 up, do you know what I mean?
He brought Reece Nelson on against Bournemouth and it paid off, hadn't he? Maybe he thought Reece Nelson might get on the end of another one. But yeah, it wasn't to be. I took the over 2.5 goals, very much a similar play to the Man City game, where I thought I can take the Arsenal goals here if I want, but it's a bit short. I was confident West Ham could get one, and I thought if they couldn't, then Arsenal could get the 3. And as it happened, it worked perfectly because I hit the over 2.5 fairly easily. So yeah, you mentioned this was your lock. My lock was the Man City over 3.5 goals.
Oh, nice.
So we both hit our locks this week. We only started giving out a lock, which was just our best bet. For the UK viewers, the Americans all know what the lock is. But we only started giving them out last week because you did it by mistake.
Yeah, I did it by mistake in Moonaf.
Just so you know, Malcolm, we are now 100% on our locks, 4 from 4.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
I'm not putting a lock out midweek though. Champions League is now a forte. We'll stick with the Premier League.
I'm shit at this year. Once we get to that, everyone should just turn off. I've got no idea what I'm talking about. Nottingham Forest 0, Manchester United 2, the most predictable scoreline ever. I did say this would be the correct scores. That was probably 6 or 7 to 1. The pick was Manchester United and under 4 goals, which hit at 11 to 8 plus 137. And the way the game panned out, which was that Man United would get an awful lucky decision, because that's what happens when it's 0-0. The most clear handballer, there's no point going on about it, but what a shower of shit. Like,
I understand. I mean, a Man U supporting friend of mine was like, it's never a pen. And I'm like,
oh, fuck off.
It is a pen. It's given every week as a pen. I said you could find 20 examples this season of that same offence being a pen.
One in the Arsenal game an hour earlier.
I can get that it's an annoying pen. It isn't deliberate, but that's not how it works these days. If your arm's in an unnatural position and it hits it, and it hasn't deflected onto it, it just drops out the air onto his outstretched arm. Every week those are given, and Man United fans wouldn't be happy if it wasn't given against them, and Forest fans should rightfully be pissed off it wasn't given. As you say, it was given earlier in the day, and they give it. As soon as I seen it, I was like, it's a pen, isn't it? Definitely. I couldn't believe. I looked away from the telly for a few seconds and seen they were playing again. And I was like, I didn't get it. The shit ones, if you're against them, you're thinking, that's a shit pen. What's he meant to do? His arms are out. But letter of the law and the interpretation as it is these days, if your hands are out there and the ball hits it, it's a pen, isn't it? But obviously not.
It wasn't even a particularly difficult one to give, you just that's a pen. Forest are rubbish. I've got that written down. Absolutely terrible. Manchester United didn't have to do an awful lot to beat them.
I think we knew that before the game. I think we've mentioned that quite frequently lately.
And I'll tell you who's a good player, Baz. That Anthony, he's all right, isn't he? Good player.
He's fucking shite. He's still absolutely shite.
Played well, did he?
Yeah, shite. 1 goal, 1 assist.
All right,
shite.
Excellent. That was so 6 and 9, both of us. In fact, Baz, I think I went 5 and 9 because I think I ticked Manchester City. I went 5 out of 9. You went 6 out of 9. But one of mine was 13 to 2. So anyway, plenty of plus priced winners. So there's a game tomorrow, Leeds and Liverpool. We did recap it the other night. We'll just throw out our picks again for the Monday night game. I completely copped out because I thought this was too hard for me to handicap. So I took the cards, but the card line was too skinny as well, really. The line was at 3.5, which was heavily juiced. It was 11 to 18. So 4 cards is plus 100 even money. And I threw out the ladder. So I just think these two teams will run around and kick shit out of each other. They don't like each other. It's a Monday night. It's a bit feisty. So we'll get up the ladder from 3.5 cards. And I did like both teams to get 2 cards each. That's at 5-4 plus 120. So those were my picks. What did you have for Leeds Liverpool, Baz?
I went with the first half goals. 2 or more first half goals. And I think it was around about 5-4 off the top of my head. I can't remember the price now. But yeah, over 1.5 first half goals for me in the Liverpool game.
Okay, nice one. So that's Monday night sorted. Right, we're going to move on to our Champions League picks. So first, I'm going to tell you about Underdog Fantasy, a great place to get down on fantasy and player props all year long. Underdog Fantasy has your favourite NBA, NHL and MLB daily games. Plus, they're already doing best ball drafts for the 2023 NFL season. Head over to underdogfantasy.com and use the promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. That's underdogfantasy.com. Promo code SGPN. Okay, Champions League picks then, Baz. This all starts going down on Tuesday, 8 o'clock. UK time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. Game 1 is Chelsea against Real Madrid. Chelsea are 7-4 plus 175. The draw's at 4-2, 5-2, 4-2, 5-2 plus 250. Real Madrid 6-4 plus 150. Madrid lead 2-0 from the first leg. Holy shit, Baz. Why are Madrid 6-4 for this? Chelsea are in absolute shambles. They can't beat anybody. And Hapless Frank is, I have no idea what he's playing at. And Madrid are better away from home as well. They've got a good record in the league. I think they won 10 from 15. We've already seen them at Liverpool in this competition where they humped them 5-2. They went to Barcelona a couple of weeks ago and won 4-0 in the Copa del Rey. I was too clever last week, Baz. I've already said I've got no idea what I'm talking about. And I try to get too cute on all these European things. So I've just back to basics, Baz. The better team here, and considerably, by the way, as well. Better team, better coached. They're 6-4. Man, honestly, it's like finding money in the street. I'll take Real Madrid, Barry, please.
I'll co-sign that.
Hey.
I've wrote down here, I've kept it really straightforward. I think Madrid at 6-4 is a tremendous price. I think they've done enough to win the tie, so they don't need to beat Chelsea this week. But they've done that in the first leg versus Liverpool, and they still went to Anfield and won 1-0. And I can't say anything different here. I'll take Madrid on the money line at 6-4 plus 150. It's just the obvious play. I don't think you need to get involved in any other trends or statistics. I just think it's good value against a rubbish Chelsea side with a job probably done. They'll go and do exactly what they did against Liverpool and sneak another win here in the away leg. So yeah, same for me.
I mean, they just got mullered at home to Brighton. Brighton are all right. Probably I would suggest Real Madrid are a bit better than Brighton. And yeah, they just got absolutely hammered at the weekend. So the second game on Tuesday is Napoli against AC Milan. For this game, Napoli are 3-4, minus 133. The draw is 13-5 plus 260. AC Milan are at 4-1. AC Milan have a 1-0 lead from the first leg. Baz, all Italian clash. Who have you got?
Yeah, so as you say, in Napoli are 1-0 down from that first leg. I still think Napoli will fancy their chances here, despite a little bit of wobble in their form, and despite the fact they've lost twice in quick succession against Milan. They failed to win again yesterday. They had a 0-0 against Verona. But they did rest a few players with the league pretty much sewn up. They didn't need to take any risks there. So Kvaratskhelia was on the bench. Osimhen was back on the bench, so back to fitness. He did get on for 20 minutes, and Osimhen will be expected to start the second leg. He was missing in the 4-0 defeat to Milan, and he was missing in the first leg, but he will be back. Milan also drew yesterday away to Bologna, but with Inter Milan also losing yesterday, they have held on to the 4th spot for now. As I say, Milan will take plenty of confidence from those 2 recent wins from Napoli. But I think with Osimhen back in, Napoli can turn the tie around, and 21-20 for Napoli to qualify appeals. But I'm going to go with the team goals. I'm going to back Napoli to get their scoring boots back here with Osimhen back in the lineup. Kvaratskhelia refreshed after a bit of a rest yesterday. Napoli to score 2 or more, which is probably what they're going to need to do to qualify. It's at 10-11, and that's the pick for me. So Napoli to score 2 or more, team total at 10-11. That's where I'm going. I was just thinking while I was there about scorer bets as well, and see when Osimhen's involved, they are a different side. They are, they've wobbled without him there. I had a quick look at him. First scorer 15-4, and an anytime scorer Osimhen is 6-4. I don't mind either of those as well. If Napoli get the 2 goals, he's likely going to get one of them at least.
He smashed one off the bar near the end of that 0-0 draw with Verona yesterday. I thought, Baz, it was going to be another team ride because my pick is Napoli to qualify, which was the first thing that you mentioned. And that fits really into the framework of everything you've just said. I have handicapped this game twice I handicapped it once and got it wrong. You told me what to bet once when I was half cut and got it wrong. So this is a third stab at this game from me. But I still don't think Milan are very good. So you just look through that form, it's bang average. So I'm going to have another go, and I'm going to take Napoli to qualify plus 105 is a price of 21-20. That would, I think, if Napoli do get the 2 goals, Baz, that you're backing them to do, you'd fancy them to get through.
Similar to you, I just think Napoli are the better side, and at home you'd fancy them to win. The other reason that pushed me towards the team goals was the Champions League home form for Napoli this season. They won 3-0 against Frankfurt, 3-0 against Rangers, 4-2 against Ajax, and 4-1 at home to Liverpool. So 4 home games there, 3 in the group, 1 in the knockouts, and they've hit at least 3 goals in every one of them. So actually, I'm taking Napoli to score 2 or more, 10-11. I wouldn't put anyone off backing to score 3 or more at 3-1 as well, because they've done it in every Champions League game so far at home. So if anyone wants to push it, I think Napoli will find a way of turning this tie around at home this week. So,
mini ladder.
I wouldn't go too far up the ladder, but 2-0 or a 3-0 is not out of the question here.
A little step ladder, Baz. I've drawn a step ladder on your notes there to signify that pick. We go to Wednesday, where the first game, same times, 8 o'clock, 3 o'clock Eastern time. Bayern Munich and Manchester City. Bayern Munich 17-10 plus 170. The draws at 14-5 plus 280. Manchester City are 11-8 plus 137. Man City 3-0 up from the first leg. So that 3-0 scoreline makes this really, really tricky. Bayern have to go for it, but the second they concede a goal, it's a mountain to climb. They're very capable, Bayern. They're an excellent side. They did get battered last week, but it could have been sort of 6-4 or something. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I didn't see the game. Do you remember we had that situation with the fire stick bar as well? Yeah. I took your advice. You said the other day that I should maybe let my friend know in a sympathetic way and send them some money, which I haven't done yet, by the way. You might want to tell your friend that I'll remember to do that later on. But the fire stick's working again. You'll be pleased to hear it's been reactivated. So there's no further worries on that count. So it could have been, you told me this could have been about 6-4. Everything you'd want to back instinctively is really short. Both teams to score and over 2.5 goals. They're both 1-2, minus 200. I've got a bit of a game script angle here, Baz. You like this. I think this will turn you on here, Baz. Bayern had come flying out the traps. Oosh, really fast. Wallop, go for it. Running around really quick in that. And I think can get a goal. But City aren't going to change. City are going to do their thing. And I think City can pick them off pretty quick. Both teams to score in the first half, Baz. Early on in this segment, said I was going to keep it simple. Both teams to score in the first half, 5-2, plus 250. Are you having that?
I don't mind that at all.
Yes.
Bayern haven't been setting the world alight under Tuchel, have they? It started well with a 4-2 win over Dortmund in the league. But since then, they lost in the cup to Freiburg. They then went and beat Freiburg in the league. Lost to City, and well beaten, you have to say. And then they drew yesterday with Hoffenheim, which has let Dortmund right back in, although Dortmund then made an absolute mess of it against Stuttgart. They were 2-0 up against 10 men and let Stuttgart come all the way back and ended up drawing 3-3 in the end, blowing that chance to go top of the league. City, on the other hand, have now won 10 in a row, 14 games unbeaten, and have now scored 27 goals in the last 5 games. So they are hot at the moment, and I can't see them not getting the job done here. With a 3-goal lead, I think City are home and hosed. And I actually think they might win this game in 90 minutes as well, despite the fact they don't need to. 11-8 to City, it doesn't put me off at all. But I'm going to go for the goals again. I think, to say, I've sort of got my mind on that last game and the fact it could have been a cricket score in any direction. It was such an entertaining game. But City to score 2 or more is where I'm looking. And I think Brian, like you say, will have a proper go, but they're going to leave opportunities at the other end, and Man City can pick them off. They will pick them off. And 2 or more City goals at 10-11, it looks okay for me, because I could see this being, if City don't win it, it could be a 3-2 Bayern, a 2-2, anything like that. So City just get a couple of goals because Bayern have got to take chances, and this City team will break on you and score goals and pick you off. And as I say, Bayern have conceded enough lately to suggest City can do that again here. So yeah, City to score 2 or more goals at 10-11 is the pick for me in this one.
Okay, that suits me, Baz. We can both win on that one. The final quarter-final, it's easy for me to say. Inter Milan against Benfica, 15-13 for Internazionale, plus 115. The draws at 12-5, plus 240. Benfica at 12-5, plus 240. Another tricky one, Baz.
Yeah, definitely. I fancied Benfica to get through the tie. Originally, I fancied them to get a bit. Now I think Benfica are right up against it. This Inter side, I looked at their form. I said last week, despite the fact that Inter's defence is solid, they've only conceded 2 goals Inter on one occasion, going back to the start of November. So they had a 2-1 defeat, I think, to Empoli not that long ago. And before that, you've got to go all the way back to the very start of November, when Juventus put 2 past them for the last time they did that. So there's not many teams putting a couple of goals past them. They got the job done in the last round against Porto with a 1-0 win. They beat Barcelona here 1-0. They've only conceded 7 goals in 6 games in the group stage, and they had a group of Barcelona and Bayern in it. So to concede 7 goals in 6 games there against those 2 sides, playing them twice, each of them, I think it shows defensively that they are solid. Benfica have now lost 3 in a row as well. They lost to Porto in the league, they lost to Inter, and then they got beat off Chavez yesterday, I think it was. And they've let Porto right back in the title race. I think they're now only 4 points clear at the top of the league. So Benfica aren't in great form. They had been before this 3-game slide. But I just think Inter are a hard side to beat, particularly at home in the Champions League. Inter not needing to take any risks here. I'm just going to take Inter to shut up shop, keep it a low scoring affair. And I'm really surprised to see the unders not juiced too much. And it's at 10-11. So under 2.5 goals for Inter v Benfica at 10-11. Is the pick for me.
You see, now you've got me scratching my head a bit here, but the pick I've gone for is both teams to score. It's 3-4, minus 133, but you've just made a fairly solid case of why that might not happen. I'll stick with my guns. I think Benfica are good for a goal. Again, similar to Bayern, they'll come out, they'll have a go. But I think it will be a little bit too good for them. If Benfica do get one, Inter should be able to get on the score sheet themselves. But I struggled with this one, man. It's hard. It's hard to read Benfica's form as well. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to sit here and say I can analyse Portuguese form one way or the other. But I did think, because we backed them last week, we fancied them last week, and the reasons that we did think they would win the game last week stand, and we've watched them in the previous round. They scored a ton of goals as well. So I think they've got a goal in them. So I'll stick with that. Both teams to score at 3-4, minus 133. We're going to do one Europa League quarter-final, the Manchester United game. We did the first leg last week as well. This is on Thursday, same time, 8 p.m, 3 p.m. Eastern kickoff time. Manchester United travelled to Seville. Sevilla are 13-5, plus 260. The draw is 13-5, plus 260. Manchester United are even money, plus 100. So this game is 2-2 after a frankly hilarious collapse last week. When Manchester United were cruising while we were recording the show. In fact, I think we awarded ourselves a win on my picks. And both of our while this was ongoing. And then by the time I closed it down and made a cup of tea, Man United had scored 2 own goals in the last 3 minutes and drew 2-2. So still no Rashford for them, which is a bonus. I'll tell you what's winding me up, Baz. I've got a new big in my bonnet, The Butcher. How do you feel about that? Fucking The Butcher. Do you know what kind of butcher he is, Baz? You know the butcher who works in Morrison's?
Yeah, he has never done a butchery course. He just wraps some meat up.
He's got the hat on. He's got the white coat. That Morrison's butcher, he's never got mince under his fingernails, has he? Never in his life. Is he gone home smelling of offal?
Funnily enough, I've been into Morrison's before and asked the butcher to do something for me. And he was like, I can't do that. I'm actually a fishmonger.
I was going to
he stood in the butcher's counter and he wouldn't cut me a different size joint of beef or something like that because he's not really a butcher. He does fish. I did
consider the fishmonger analogy, actually. I like a fishmonger. But yeah, that's a man. Yeah, so anyway, grow up, Man United fans, the fucking butcher. So anyway, so yeah, they've got a lot of big games as well, Man United. They've got a look-ahead spot to the FA Cup semi-final at the weekend. They got away with it today against Nottingham Forest. They were by far the better team. They played well. Although Harry Maguire was an absolute accident waiting to happen. And Lindelof, they got no choice but to play them too because I think Varane and the butcher, the fishmonger we'll call him, Varane and the fishmonger are both injured. Sevilla absolutely love this cup. This is going to be a much tougher assignment than what Man United got away with. I'm going to take Sevilla. I'm happy to leave Man United. I just think that they're just underpriced relentlessly. And sometimes they're going to prove me wrong. I mean, I was on them today, got them right. But I said they couldn't and wouldn't run up the score for us, and they didn't. So I think Sevilla will get them behind what is a dodgy defence. And Anthony did his good things for the month all in one afternoon today. So yeah, give me the home team, Baz. What you got?
Yeah, I mean, I get. I mean, they could have run up the score today, Man United, because Keylor Navas has had to have an absolute blinder to keep it down to 2-0. But I agree with you. I found it hard to handicap, to be honest. I took the unders last week and failed there. And I've wrote down, I think Sevilla aren't a bad price here at all for the home leg. I didn't expect Man United to be as short as they are. 11-10 to win in 90 minutes and 4-7 to qualify. It's just far too short for me. As you say, we know this Sevilla team have got pedigree in this tournament, haven't they? So I'm going the exact opposite of where I went last week. Man United Europa League ties have gone over 2.5 goals in 4 of the last 5 games in the knockout stage. So I think it was Barcelona, Betis, and then the first leg in this one. 4 of the 5 have gone over. And in knockout games at home, Sevilla have managed to score 2 against Fenerbahce, 3 against PSV. As I say, we know that they like this tournament. So I think Sevilla can get in on the goals. Whether they win it, I don't know. But I think they can chip in here and get us to the over 2.5 at 10-11. So over 2.5 goals. Sevilla v Man United is the pick for me at 10-11.
Okay. Next up, we've got some bonus League One action. Baz, you've declared yourself a League One expert because you've had some lucky picks the last couple of weeks, haven't you? You've decided. You've anointed yourself. You've crowned yourself like the king of League One, is what you've done. Sitting there with a little crown on. So you've made some rash League One picks, so let's have them.
Yeah, so this came about. Big Dave had been in touch again, who's a new listener, found us recently, and he's absolutely loving the show. We like Big Dave. He messaged me yesterday, so it was after the Villa game. The Villa game, he doubled both of our picks. He went for Villa to win and both to score. So a little bit unlucky there.
Fool.
But he come to me, he says, he fancied Crewe in League Two to score 2 or more goals. He wanted to know what my best pick of the day was to go with it, to stick it in a double. And I could have just referred him to the lock from the show or picked one of the Premier League picks and threw it out. But I had a pick I really, really liked in League One. So I said I like the Barnsley team total, over 1.5. I told him why. And off he went, put the double on, and it cashed within about 25 minutes. I laddered the Barnsley goals from 2 all the way up to 5. And it finished 5-1. Absolutely nailed the Barnsley. So I said, he said, do you not put these stuff out on the podcast? And I said, no. I said, it's a Premier League show, you know. We've got 10 Premier League games. We don't. But I said, we will where we can. So I thought maybe when someone does stand out, we'll put it out. But if not, try and put them in the Discord or TikTok or something like that. Because we have been finding some good lower league stuff. And we can't give everything out. Like we've got an hour, haven't we? It's difficult. But I thought I'd have a look this week because there's quite a lot of Championship, League One, League Two stuff going on. So yeah, it was good to have a bit more interaction there. And we've had some good interaction this week. Actually, TikTok, there's been a few people in touch. And on Twitter, Patrick's been letting us know he's been back.
Oh yeah, I think Patrick had some nice winners this week. Well done, Patrick.
Yeah, so we've had a few people on, as I say, on TikTok getting in touch. A few private messages saying, "What do you fancy here? What do you fancy there?" The answer is, listen to the show. I do help people out though. I'm not that sly. Someone even on TikTok messaged me and said, "Do you have a tipster service I can subscribe to?" And
how much you charged them, Baz?
So the temptation was there to just drop in my PayPal address.
You could have got that Fire Stick subsidised, Baz.
If you, the answer is, if you want me tipster service or our tipster, you do it by subscribing on YouTube, subscribing on Spotify, ticking the like, ticking the thumbs up, and telling your friends. That's all you need to do, and you can have every pick we've got. So yeah, there's no subscription service here. Just sign up and listen to the show, and we'll give you 25-1 doubles and correct scores and underdogs, scorers, the whole lot. You get the whole lot for free. What a service! So yeah, keep interacting with us on the old on the socials. And as you say, if you're in the live chat now, let us know your picks. Let us know what you fancy. Let us know you're there. Or if you're listening on YouTube afterwards, there is a comment section. You can still get involved afterwards and let us know your thoughts. League One, I've gone down to Ipswich v Port Vale. Ipswich are on a 14-game unbeaten run. They're second in the league. They've won 9 of their last 10 games, and they're going absolutely mad for goals lately. They won 6-0 yesterday, and in the last 10 games, they've had a 6-0. They've had 3 4-0s, 3 2-0s, and a 3-0. I think they had a 1-1 draw was the one anomaly in there. They've also had 10 clean sheets in the last 11 games. For League One, League Two Championship, these are hard leagues to get any kind of consistency. 10 clean sheets in 11 games. So they've conceded 1 goal in the last 11. Ridiculous form. Port Vale, on the other side of it, have had no win in 7. They've conceded 3 or more in 3 of their last 6 games. They've also failed to score in 3 of their last 6, and they haven't faced any of the title-chasing sides in that run. Until now, they haven't had a particularly hard run, but they're not playing very well in it. And I think Ipswich will win it, and I think they'll win it well. These are the last 6 home games for Ipswich. They've won 6-0, 4-0, 2-0, 3-0, 4-0, 4-0. It's astonishing form. And they're chasing the league title. They're just a point, I think, behind Plymouth. They're in second at the moment. So there's a couple of ways we can play it. We can ride the Ipswich team total up. And I think we'd have to start at 3 and upwards. Or we play the handicap. And I think with such a great defensive record, with all these clean sheets, that might be the better way of playing it. So remember, they've only conceded 1 goal in 11. So you can get Ipswich to win by 2 or more at 4-5. It's not going to make anyone rich, but it looks safe as houses. So we start there, and then we ladder it up. So Baz's ladders this week is all over the Ipswich handicap. Ipswich to win by 2 or more at 4-5. Then we take 3 or more at around 5-2. I think we go 4 or more, which is the minus 3.5. That's available at 11-2. And to win by 5 or more, you can get it 14-1. So we'll get up that ladder. As I say, the handicap appeals to me because I fancy to get another clean sheet. It means for a 3-0 win, we're getting paid out at around 5-2 rather than the 5-4 if we take the team goals, 3 or more. If anyone wants to play it a bit more cautious, then by all means take the team goals angle. You can go with Ipswich to score 3 or more at 5-4, 4 or more at 100-30, 9-1 for 5 or more, 6 or more is available at 20-1. The only thing I've got on my side is I'm starting with a 2-0 starting point on the handicap. Whereas if you go the team goals, you need the 3 goals, but a 3-1 will still do for your 3-2. So yeah, a few ways to play it. But yeah, Ipswich to get in amongst the goals is something I really, really like. So yeah, the play for me is the Ipswich handicap and ride it up the ladder. But similarly, I like the goals. I picked out a couple of other things. I don't know if you want to do yours or if you want me to stick with me League One.
You crack on, Baz.
I've got an underdog that I quite like. And I didn't go into looking at League One with underdogs and parlays in mind, but I've done so. And it's a fate of Chef Wed, who've completely fallen apart. They went on that ridiculous unbeaten run of about 23 games or something. They ended that with a 1-1 draw against Bolton, and they ended up going on a 6-game winless streak, having not lost for so long. They've only had 1 win in the last 8 now, and away from home, it's no win in 5. They've lost 3 of them. Now, Chef Wed are away to Bristol Rovers, who aren't amazing. The mid-table, safe as houses. What price do you think Chef Wed are? They've not won in 5. They've won 1 in the last 8 overall.
11-10.
They're 8-11.
Wow.
It's just ridiculous. And it's not me sitting here saying Bristol Rovers are going to beat Chef Wed. I'm just looking at the price and thinking it's scandalous. Like anyone backing Chef Wed at the moment in their current form at 8-11 needs their head checked. They might well win it. I'm not saying Chef Wed can't win this game. They may well do so, but for me, at 8-11, it's not for me. They might win, but at that price, you have to fade it. I think Bristol Rovers are a really good value at 7-2 at home. It wouldn't surprise me at all. So just a little bonus underdog that I didn't expect to put out when I first looked at it, but I just couldn't believe Chef Wed in their current form or that low. I have picked out a treble as well on the Football League. So bear with me 1 second. It's a League One treble. I've gone for Plymouth to beat Shrewsbury, 19-20. Peterborough to beat Accrington Stanley, who are there, 8-11. And Ipswich, which was the starting point, Ipswich minus 1.5 at 5-4. So that treble comes out at 5-1. That's 500. So Plymouth, Peterborough, and Ipswich to win by 2 or more is a nice little parlay I like. So that's all Tuesday night. I appreciate most people will probably be watching Champions League football. That doesn't mean you can't get involved in some of the matches. Yeah, see where we go with it. And if we win, we might make it a more regular feature.
There'll be so few people, Baz, who listen to this show who get the Accrington Stanley who were there reference. But it makes me laugh every time. Excellent. Well, yeah, you messaged me this afternoon with a silly little smiley face saying you made some League One picks. So I rolled my sleeves up and I thought I'll show him. And I've headed to League Two, Baz. And made a little
I was
bone.
hoping you weren't going to say a National League because I looked at the National League and then I thought, bless the poor Americans can't bet the National League. So
no, well, I was conscious of that, yeah. So I've only made 1 pick. I haven't made dozens like you. And again, it's one of these where the prices are wrong. Like you've just explained about the Sheffield Wednesday game. The game is Carlisle United against Stockport County. Carlisle are 2-1. The draw is 21-10, and Stockport are 12-5. So it's a good game. Carlisle are 5th and Stockport are 4th. They're both on 71 points. But I think the key for me is Carlisle's home form. They've had loads of away games recently. They've played 3 of the last 8 at home, just won 1 and drawn 2 of those without conceding. Stockport are in really good form, won 4 and drawn 4 of their last 8. But Stockport just don't score many goals. One of those 8 games, they scored 4 against Newport. That is by far the outlier. In 6 of them, they scored 1 goal, and in the other game, they didn't score any goals. It's not dissimilar to the Villa-Newcastle game, this, that we got right on Saturday. I just think the Carlisle at 2-1, you couldn't put a cigarette paper between these 2 teams. And Carlisle are just huge. At home, they're a good side. And like I say, I think 2-1's just too big to get a home win. And the home form's been good. They're third in the home table, where Stockport are doing all right, but they're somewhere near sort of 6th or 7th in the away table. Not much between them, but I just think Carlisle are too big. 2-1 home for that win, Baz.
Nice. I mean, put out a good selection of stuff this week, haven't we?
Love it.
I mean,
did we bother with locks and dogs and goals? Have you got anything?
No.
Are we not doing that now? Do we only do that on a weekend?
We stick with that with the Premier League, don't we? I mean, I've stuck an underdog out, but it's not. These aren't official underdog locks. We stick with our locks on the Premier League, Martin. We've started.
Well, all right, we'll protect our run, Baz.
Well, we've still stuck out plenty of variety.
Beautiful. All right, mate. Well, that's us done. Brilliant. A nice solid 56 minutes.
We've got under the hour mark for the first
under the hour. Well, we did only have 6 games to handicap, so we've managed to drag it out a little. But we did have some flexing to do as well, Baz, and we do like analysing the Premier League weekend.
What I've noticed from the numbers, Malcolm, is a trend that more people listen to our Sunday night recording than listen to our Thursday night.
Do they really?
Yeah, quite a big difference. Despite the fact that our Thursday night is the bread and butter.
All our picks are on a Thursday night.
Yes, I know. All our winners scored. I mean, we're getting good numbers. It's good. It's growing, which is what we want, and that's good to see. But I wonder.
It might be the Champions League. I think it'll be the Americans in the Champions League, but.
Or the other thing is less people listening to podcasts on a weekend, more people listening through the week on their way to work.
Yeah, that's another possibility.
Night, sure, people are listening to it Monday morning, Tuesday morning, on their way home Monday or Tuesday night. Whereas the Thursday show has probably only got the legs on a Friday, and then it fizzles out because people have got better plans on a Saturday. But yeah,
I mean, as we speak, Baz, absolutely everybody's fucked off from the YouTube channel, so we're just making you now talking to ourselves.
That's fine. I mean, we're still getting. I mean, YouTube's fairly fresh to us, but we're getting
true.
A good amount of people watching it after the event. And we need more people liking it, though, because they're all coming back and watching it every week. But they're not only 7 of them sticking their thumbs up. I think I know more than 7 people who watched it personally.
Yeah, thumbs up.
I'm going to message them all, ask why they didn't give it a thumbs up. But yeah, if you are one of those people that only listens to our Sunday night show, you need to try the Thursday one, because that's where all the dynamite comes out, like all the gold, 25-1 doubles and stuff like that. But I appreciate all the listeners, and just keep liking, rating, reviewing. All good. Yeah,
cheers. So yeah, good luck with all your picks. Enjoy all the European football. We'll be back on Thursday night. We've got Prem and FA Cup semi-finals this weekend. So loads of stuff to get our teeth into. Cheers, Baz. That was fun. Well done this weekend. Plenty winners for us to pat ourselves on the back with. Good luck this week. Appreciate you listening. We'll see you down the road. Cheers.